I am Victor Huerta, and on today's real estate show, I'm going to give you some home inspection tips for the first-time home buyer. Let's go. Hey, welcome back, my friends. Don't forget to click that subscribe button. Click that bell to get notified when we drop our latest video. We are just dropping some home buyer, some home seller, and investment tips on this channel so you, the public, can make a better sound decision when you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing in some real estate. Okay, so let's go ahead and deep dive right into some home inspection tips for the first-time home buyer, meaning that you have decided to buy your first house. You are going through the home inspection process. You are a little stressed out, and I hope these tips kind of calm you down a little bit to help you get through the home inspection process. You need to focus on the major items, okay? I'm just giving you some mentorship as a coaching here. Focus on the major items and try to leave out the very simple stuff, because the simple stuff you can get actually fixed and corrected for cheap using a handyman, or if yourself, your husband, or your wife is a handyman or handy woman, they can actually complete the job as well. So let's get right into these home inspection tips for the first-time home buyer, and we are gonna deep dive into tip number one. I'm speaking about Arizona here. Tip number one, the AC unit. AC unit is critical here in the Valley of the Sun in Phoenix, Arizona. The home inspector is gonna take a measurement of the air and temperature, the in and out of that AC unit, and they're gonna tell you like, hey, the AC unit is running properly, or the AC unit needs to be tuned up. My suggestion, as always, if your report doesn't have too many items, I always try to suggest the seller to get that AC tuned up before you buy your house, because I've seen it happen to some of my clients, and it's covered through another home warranty. That's another topic of another video. Is they move in, a week later the AC just goes out, okay? And if you're in the middle of the summer, it is hot. So my suggestion to you is make sure you read that AC section, make sure you get it checked out, and if it needs to be tuned up before you move in and before you move forward and buying the house, get that requested by the seller to get it corrected. Okay, tip number two, guys and girls, is the roof tiles. Now, we have something called the monsoon season here in Arizona. The monsoon season, where it rains, the winds blow, and I'm talking about, really bad dust storms, okay? They're called haboos here. If you've never seen it, just Google it, put it on YouTube, haboo season in Arizona. It is crazy, crazy windy. Now, what happens is, if you have a roof that has tiles, is usually those tiles slide down and it exposes the underlayment of the paper and the plywood. So when it rains during monsoon season, the water seeps through underneath the tiles and can damage the roof. It goes with shingles as well. Shingles usually lift up or they blow off and they expose the underlayment and the wood and the plywood of the roof. So a good roof can last you about 20 to 30 years. But you always got to check up on it, because a couple slip tiles, it rains for 3 to 4 hours here. That water can expose all the underlayments and the plywood. Then you have some issues. So that's tip number two when buying your house here in Arizona. All right, tip number three during your home inspection is the termite report. So every house is going to have termites in Arizona. It's just a matter of time. We live in the desert. So when you get that termite report, that termite inspection, is you will get a home inspection and you have to add the termite inspection. Okay, if that house has termites, don't be scared, because almost every house in Arizona has termites. It just hasn't been found yet. Okay, so the termites can be treated here locally here in Arizona. Okay, there's different ways of how bad termites are. Sometimes they have to drill around the house, and what happens is they spray underneath the house because it has to come up. Termites go down and come up here in Arizona. They just don't go through the wood. They go underneath the foundation. They come up through the holes where they actually put the framework in to hold up the walls, exterior walls. I know this because I was a framer that's how I paid for my college. So termites go underneath, come up through the foundation, and they crawl inside your walls. Okay, so but they can be treated. So don't get stressed if the house that you're buying has termites, because ultimately it can be treated, and that can be treated by the seller at the seller's expense. All right, tip number 4, guys. Tip number 4 is the garage door. I think this is a major item because why? Because when you're moving into your house and then when you get into your house, that is constantly the main item that's gonna be going up and down, up and down, up and down. So you have to make sure the garage panels, because they are panels here, and the garage motor, the sensors, everything is in order. Because if you have a house with a garage, you definitely want to utilize it correctly, right? So make sure the garage door, motor, the sensors, the chain, the spring, everything is in order when you're buying your house. Okay guys, tip number 5 is, it's a small one, but you use it a lot. The garbage disposal, okay? Here in Arizona is a lot of people, they have that garbage disposal. They keep it going and going and going. So always look underneath the sink when you're purchasing your house and you're doing the home inspection, or when you're meeting the home inspector to go over the home inspection report. The garbage disposal, is a major item. If it's cracked, leaking, or looks rusted, ask the seller to replace it with the new one. It's a cheap fix, but at least you don't have to do it. And also while you're there, make sure the dishwasher S-loop is correctly installed as well, so you don't get no water back into your dishwasher. And you could just actually ask them to replace all of that at one time to make sure everything is new down there and everything is working correctly. And tip number 6 for your home inspection for the first time home buyer is water damage. Water damage and mold. Water damage and mold, okay guys? Now, I haven't seen too much mold here in the valley, to be honest with you. I have seen some water damage, and that is caused by the roof and the roof tiles that we spoke about. Usually when the roof and the roof tiles are taken care of, you'll see some blemishes in the attic as far as the plywood being stained as far as wet from the rain, etc. But I really haven't, to be honest with you, I really haven't seen too much mold here in Arizona. We haven't purchased one house that has mold, so my buyers have not actually found mold in the house. So just keep that in mind. Be mindful that water damage and mold can be in the house because we are in Arizona. But honestly, I have done over 250 transactions. I have not seen one house with mold yet. And tip number 7, this is a bonus, electrical. The electrical panel. Usually you get a landscaper who comes in who the current owner has hired, and they double plug a ground. Okay, that's like a red flag here in Arizona as far as electrical work. So just make sure that home inspector takes a look at the electrical panel, flags any items that need to be corrected. Some things are very minor. The outlets in the house, guys, if they are not grounded or they're not working, don't stress out about that. An outlet costs like $6 to $10 to change out. All you gotta do is turn off the breaker, come in, rewire it, and you're done. If it's not grounded, you probably just have to pull it out and re-ground it. But just make sure the breaker box is in good condition, because everything else is pretty easy to handle. So I hope you enjoyed the home inspection tips for the first-time home buyer. If you have any comments, concerns, or questions, leave them down below. We will try to get a response to you right away as soon as possible. We come back and check the comments on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and a little bit on Sundays. But once again, I am Victor Huerta, local real estate agent here in the Valley. Don't forget to click the subscribe button, that bell, to get notified when we drop the next video. And thank you for watching our channel, and we'll see you on the next video.